I feel like to young women, unironically, they need to find a man that's very misogynistic. If you at all want to have a
Nice.
guy that's going to like make you follow his frame, and you need to find a strong Christian man that's going to put you in your place, or else you're going to dominate the relationship.
Well, that was someone by the name of Isabella Moody, and her husband will be in a lot of these videos I'm going to play for you. We have a lot to look at, so get ready, brace for impact. And his name's Josiah Moody. So Isabella and Josiah Moody. And despite many of you possibly having the thought of, are these 12-year-olds? We're looking at, I guess, people who are in their 20s. So there it is. And one of the things that I get in terms of feedback on this show often is I love seeing someone of my age. You all will say, I love seeing someone your age who is espousing these pro-democracy views, who you guys perceive to be rational. And get this, I perceive myself to be rational too. And so that's kind of a compliment that is often levied the way the show, and I appreciate that. I want to now show you that not everyone around my age has the same views that I have, as you saw a little sneak peek of there. So let's start going through it. And the only reason I'm aware of this Isabella Moody and Josiah Moody is because of Right Wing Watch. It's an account on at least X, but definitely across social media platforms, that does deep dives into the right wing online content space and then grabs moments. So we'll look at some clips from them and some other moments from the podcast that Isabella Moody does. Here's another moment.
I wouldn't have let you walk out until my point was conveyed that you do what you're supposed to do, whatever I tell you to do, because that's your job, is to submit, do it with a smile on your face. I don't care. And I wouldn't have let you leave. I would have, you would have had to eat whatever mean things I would have said. And then the job would have got done. And then afterwards, after the cooling down process, I would have, repented to God and smooth things over with you for the sinful behavior. That's how things would have went down.
Okay, and before playing another clip, let me give you a sense of what Isabella Moody has been tweeting. She wrote recently, Democrats didn't destroy America. Feminism did. Oh gosh. This one's a beaut. Stop wearing sunscreen. Stop taking birth control. Don't go to college. Stop trusting the experts. And then being married has taught me so much. How to serve, how to submit, how to listen, how to shut up. I've never been smarter in my entire life. If only the self-proclaimed girl bosses understood this, women need men and have so much to learn from them. The only thing I agree with there is women need men like men need women. We all need each other, okay? I want us all to rely on one another. But I have to say, this is sort of your typical ultra, I guess the term they like to describe them as, or themselves as, is traditional, but super misogynistic, sort of advocating on behalf of moving us back. Any progress we've made, especially on gender-related issues, gender equality, let's just roll back the clock on that. And with people as the ones that we're looking at here, sometimes I wonder if this is sort of a grift. They know that young content creators espousing these sort of provocative things will get a lot of attention and will get clicks and all of that, and maybe there's more of a performative aspect to it, but people really do hold these views. One of the things we're going to look at in this segment is them responding to that kicker, Harrison Butker, who delivered the speech that was controversial because of the misogyny and all the wild things that he was saying. And so we'll get into a lot, but I know there's genuinely held views here. The length or the extent of them and how they're expressing it might be a little bit performative. But here's another moment where he's, you'll see.
What are you saying?
How do you respect a man who's going to go cry on stage about you?
He didn't cry. His voice cracked. He was getting emotional.
Okay, maybe
If that
I'm
was
being
me,
too harsh.
that means you cheat on me?
No.
That means you're cheating?
No.
Shut up. You're so stupid. That is ridiculous. No,
soft.
quiet. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. What is this? Again, some people watch videos where we talk about the things we talk about in the rational way that we talk about them. Some people watch videos like this and think, yes, we need to go back to a better time where that's how a woman was spoken to or something. Goodness gracious. Now, I will say, a lot of this is premised on the Bible, right? He referenced that, and you'll hear it more, and sort of, this is the way, the roles that we were supposed to have, and you're supposed to submit to me as my wife. And I'll say, if your only lesson from the Bible is that women should be verbally and physically abused, I think you're reading the Bible wrong. And it is weird seeing these people who proclaim to be avid readers of and followers of scripture, and they're very particular in the scripture that they hyperfixate on. It just so happens to serve perfectly their own ambitions and their own sort of icky principles when it comes to their own misogyny, essentially, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Then here, so one of the things about this Harrison Butker speech was that he had misogynistic things to express. And here, it wasn't enough for these two.
I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
Let's go. Let's go. Yes. This is the country we need. Oh my gosh. I didn't even see the speech, to be honest. That's my first time seeing it.
Same.
And this is what's got everybody all pissed off?
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous.
Obviously, and what he's saying is correct.
And there were also other parts of the speech.
You know, women...
What he's saying is not correct. That's what that's why that's also, like, stupid. Because he's one of, he's a great NFL player because of his wife.
Oh, yeah. Well, that part's stupid.
Yeah, bro. Come on. You're gonna give your credit to your wife. Like, yeah, she's a helper, and it seems like she's a great helper. But she doesn't deserve all the credit. All of the credit obviously goes to God for giving you these talents, and you entered it.
So it was going too far to say that the success in his life he's partly attributing to the help of his wife, and the people here, the Moody's, are moody about. Sorry, that's just low hanging fruit. How could I not go for that? Are moody about the fact that he was willing to give credit. Isn't he so thoughtful? Too thoughtful, frankly, for saying that she might have played a part in his success. And then we move on to something else. I know what you're thinking, right? We've talked a lot about how the threats currently that are posed to democracy, in a sense, could cause the downfall of democracy. Well, some people think the downfall of society will happen, not because of people not accepting election results, trying to overthrow our electoral process, not because of nukes or something to that effect, Kim Jong-un getting a little fast and loose with his nuclear arsenal. No, instead, it's women. That's going to be why society collapses, according to these people. Don't clip that.
I think it's women. I think we're always bringing the blame back to men, but most women vote just because women had the opportunity to leave their husbands. They didn't have to pick it. And I think we're ultimately responsible for the downfall of society. Most men have very little to no political power other than one vote.
Isn't it then fair to say it's actually men's fault for allowing women to do these things in the first place?
Okay, so that was the point I was making. I want to actually break that down. So, okay, you go get married. Let's just say tomorrow you find your chick, you get married. And then she says, I want to leave you. And I want to take half your business and your stuff. What do you do? No, don't do it. Well, no, I really want to. No, please don't. Let me go leave.
Right, but my point was pre-women's suffrage. It was men, it's patriarchy, and then the men go, I had an idea, let's divide power amongst women, couldn't you then blame men for being weak?
Fine. Maybe 100 years ago,
Failure
sure.
of
But I'm
leadership.
saying any person born today or in the last 50, most men didn't have anything to do with that. Like, you weren't alive. I wasn't alive. So yeah, sure, a few men you could say are responsible, but by and large, far more women have opted for this stuff. Far more women have gotten abortions. Far more women have gotten on OnlyFans.
Only women have gotten abortions.
And because, like you said earlier, when women get power, they're terrible. They don't know what to do because they have higher rates of mental illness. They're just way more abusive. They just are power hungry. So, because men allowed allowed them to have the power, and now women have the power, and look how terrible society is with the sexual revolution. And now it is because of women today and them having power. And it sucks because we can't go back in time. But what can we do now?
But that's my point.
Wow. Now, let me say on this conversation around marriage, because there's a lot there. I don't even know if it's worth the time to dive into every point that was made there. I'm going to say something pretty brave. I'm going to be pretty courageous, so get ready. I think women's suffrage was good, to the contrary of these lunatics. And also, we've made so many incredible advancements as a society as women have gotten more rights. And the world that we currently live in is so much better, despite them fear-mongering about degeneracy or whatever it might be. And I wish I could force them to go live in some of the times that they romanticize because of their misogynistic and, again, maybe they would identify it as super traditional views. But they bring up marriage a lot and act like a healthy family or a healthy marriage is created because a woman is super subservient and submits to their husband, and the husband can sort of boss him around or boss her around. And I just want to sort of take it, not that I have to explain to you the framework by which I think that's incorrect. That's really foundational, but instead just give you a particular example. I can confidently say I have one of the best one of the best parental units on the face of the earth, okay? My parents, my father and mother, are some of the best humans generally, and their parenting was absolutely stellar. My approach when I'm eventually raising a family is going to be to try to copy what they did as much as I can. I have so much admiration for them. One of the characteristics of their marriage was it was two equals choosing to raise a family together, choosing to love their children, choosing to love each other as equals. And that included at one point in time, my mom choosing to pause her career to raise kids. That also included my dad choosing to stay at home and work from home for long periods of time so he could raise and love his children. And there was absolutely no necessity for some sort of unequal man is dominant and has to sort of be abusive to their wife to get her under control or something. None of that was necessary. And I would say one of the most incredible families, excluding myself, okay, this is not complimenting myself, but just the family unit as a whole, absolutely incredible because of that marriage. And that, I think, by itself, as one anecdote, can contradict this entire wave recently of horrible principles being espoused by the likes of these individuals. And then also, I don't like that the left sometimes cedes the pro-family label to the right, because this is not pro-family. This is men wanting to be abusive and then justifying it with a bunch of different things. Pro-family is, of course, advocating for policies that uplift families, feed children in those families, make sure children are safe going to school, housing those families properly, and celebrating people raising families and equals choosing to raise families. And then also, if you're not yet ready to do that or you never want to, we also celebrate that. It really seems pretty simple, but it's hard for these individuals to get their mind around it. I'll leave it there. Let me know what you thought of that. This is a funky side of the internet, I have to tell you. And do you enjoy a little bit more of this cultural type segment rather than just the straight politics type stuff? Because there's a lot of this out there, unfortunately. Let me know in the comments.